Good morning, my patriot brothers and sisters, or my communist friends, however you want to look at it. We're in a gray area right now. It is approximately 8:32 a.m. on Saturday, 1/9/21. The events of last night were pretty daunting, to say. Things are starting to happen a lot faster. A lot of more stuff is happening. A lot of people are freaking out. As I scrolled through Facebook this morning, I see people like, what the hell's going on? Why are we doing this? Why are we going after Twitter? All the people on Twitter. Why are we going after Parler? What's that all about? And there are those, my friends out there that are the QAnons. They're all excited for some reason. Don't know why that is. And maybe they know something we don't. Just pointing that out there. But it seems that, we're coming into a new time. Not sure what that time is, but it seems like you're not allowed to say the things you used to be able to say. Just as long as we can have our nice hot cup of coffee, maybe we'll be all right. I don't know. Good and hot. That's the way I like it. Yes, sir. Take a sip with me. Enjoy the morning. Oh, and if you're catching this on the rerun, just remember, share this because Facebook is muting my posts. They are flagging my post. Facebook said that this post has sexual content in it. I don't know what kind of perverts they are over there at Facebook, but okay. If that's the way they want to be it. They also said that this one's lacking context because they weren't really talking about. Well, see, you really didn't hear what they were saying. They said something else, and it's you. You're the problem. If you really understood the nuances of what they were talking about, then you would understand they really meant peace. You see, those protests were all mostly peaceful protests. There was a little bit of violence thrown in. My pastor one time, he walked into church with a plate of brownies. Now, his analogy was about sin. He had this big plate of brownies. And he said, I made these brownies this morning just for you. Everybody in the church can have one. Just want to let you know that I went out to the yard and I grabbed just a little tiny bit of dog poo from a dog out in the yard. Just a little bit. Just a little tiny bit. You won't even notice it when I put it in there and mixed it all up. You won't even notice that it's in there. Why don't you come have a brownie? Well, that's what these people are. Except there's a lot more in their brownies. See, it's just taken a little out of context. That's all. It's just mostly peaceful. Of course, when a bunch of patriots were surrounding the Capitol and shouting, "Stop the steal," or whatever it was they were chanting, that was a violent insurrection. They got a 20,000-page bill that they're introducing into the Congress for domestic terrorism and insurrection and to stop these right-wing fanatics. Isn't that interesting? How'd they come up with a 20,000-page bill on such short notice? It's almost like they knew what was coming. Huh. That's shocking to me. I don't know how all this could be happening in such a short period of time. It's almost like it was planned. Huh. So, tried to get on Parler yesterday, and this is what it looked like. It's like, what's going on here? Why is that happening? And Apple announces that they're giving a 24-hour ultimatum to Parler to implement a moderation plan. Boy, that sounds like a clean, pure, sweet. That sounds awesome. Everybody needs a moderation plan. Just like that poop in the brownies, just a little bit. We just need a little bit. That's all. Or it'll get scrubbed from their app store. And they expect Google to do the same thing. Well, Google didn't do the same thing. Google just took it off. They gave them no warning. Screw you. We're done with you. You're out of here. Trump has been deleted from almost all social media. Parler last night, when this was going on, was a cyber attack. It was a denial of a service attack. Google is threatening to, we just talked about that, the social media companies that don't comply. Who owns Google? My phone's trying to tell me something. You know what these are, these phones? I got two of them here. You know what these phones are? They're tracking devices. Make sure you have it on you at all times. Papers, show me your papers. Tracking devices. Make sure you have it on you at all times so they know where you're going and what you're doing and what you're thinking. Because if you think wrong, there could be consequences. But they're not coming after you. Oh, don't worry. They're not coming after you. They're just coming after those crazies. You know, the ones that chased the orange man. Speaking of orange man, the Babylon Bee were pointed out. Something I thought was kind of funny. It says Trump sneaks back into Twitter by disguising himself as a PR rep for the Chinese Communist Party. And there he is right there, all dressed up with his little hat on. I just thought that was a good one. I tell you what, the Babylon Bee, they'll probably be the next to be silenced, because we can't have any satire in 1984 2021 version. Satire is unacceptable, especially satire against those who are in charge. Lynn Wood put on Parler, they're going after, or said they are going after all of them. And they are coming after all of us. It's a war. It's a war. It hasn't gone hot yet, but it's a war. And there is a coalition behind Trump. Where is Trump, by the way? Anybody seen him? And there is a group of conspirators behind. They don't have a face, Biden, but everybody knows Biden's not. Everybody knows Biden's not in charge. Who's in charge? Is it Her Royal Highness of Jack Daniels, Nancy Pelosi? Is she in charge, or is she just a puppet like the rest of them? Maybe it's the People's Republic of America. Maybe it's the Chinese. You know, I heard a rumor there might be some Chinese on the border. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along. So, just to put out there what's kind of coming our way, just so that you understand, Parler says we will not cave from the anti-competitive actors. We will always have, we will and always have enforced rules against violence and illegal activities, but we won't cave to politically motivated companies and authoritarians who hate free speech. Now, I asked you, who owns Google? Oh, you're going to tell me the Alphabet Corporation and a couple of guys and blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what the guy's name is. Doesn't matter. Who owns Twitter? Oh, that guy with the beard. Yeah. Who owns Facebook? Oh, that guy that looks like he's a projected image, not reality. Yeah, begins with a Z. But all those answers would be wrong. You see, how do those companies get so big so fast? You ever thought about that? Where'd that billions of dollars come from? You know, it wasn't too long ago, just like 2 or 3 years ago, well, maybe longer than that. You know, during the Obama administration, that people were, you can watch business channels, and they were discussing the viability of Google. And here it goes again.
Hi, how can I help?
Ooh, shut up. And the viability of Facebook. I mean, how are they going to make any money? And then all of a sudden, their stock option, their IPO, their initial public offer of stock, and they're billionaires. How'd that happen? It's like, we're trying to figure out how to make an income on this thing. Do y'all remember that? Are you old enough to remember that? Man, it wasn't like that long ago. Where'd they get all these billions of dollars? Oh, they're selling your information and they're selling advertising. Yeah, I get that. But initially, you see, the biggest market in the world right now is not the United States. It's China. There's over 1 billion people. They wanted access to it. In order to get access to it, the Chinese said, sure, come on over. We got some documents you need to sign and some rules you need to follow. And by doing that, these large tech companies gave authorities and control to China. And of course, they were rewarded handsomely for that when their stock options came out and people bought all that up and drove the price up. Wonder how that happened. Think about that for a little while. Maybe you'll come to a conclusion. So you're wondering how come and why all this is at? Because they're taking orders from their masters. And they're promised, I'm sure, great rewards. So they're going after Parler because Parler won't do what they want them to do. Parler has found a niche. It's called free speech. And then everybody's all, okay, we're going to jump to Gab. Oh, we're going to jump to MeWe. Oh, we're going to jump to, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of them. But you think any of them are different? Parler's just the target right now because that's where everybody's going. Eventually they'll get to the other ones. There's talk right now of the server companies that run Parler that Parler and Rumble are talking about eliminating their servers, which means they'll just go away. They just won't exist anymore. Think about that. Then you got comments like this. Trump will be an ex-president in 13 days. The fact that getting rid of Trump is the easy part. Cleansing the movement, he commands, is going to be something else. Cleansing the movement? How are you going to cleanse the movement? How are you going to cleanse an idea? How are you going to make all that and all those people go away? Who is John Galt? Trump and Flynn would never willingly surrender because they're fully aware of what would happen if they do. We have no choice but to take the leap of faith. They're fully aware of what that would do. Y'all remember the movie? This is a friend of mine posted this on Facebook. Jason did. He said, y'all remember that movie, The Running Man? Remember how the main character was painted into a picture of being a villain by the media by presenting an alternative narrative to what really happened? Can you remember that? Y'all seen that movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger? Do you remember how there was no other available option for broadcasting events? There was only one. Remember how it was in the 80s and we all thought it was ridiculously stupid to think the media would do anything other than present the facts as they stood? Do you remember? That was weird. But here we are. As you turn on the media and you flip through the channels, they all say exactly the same thing. I mean, word for word, exactly the same thing. I've played the video. Y'all seen what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Repeat after repeat after repeat. The line that is created. This is terrible that happened in D.C. And I haven't watched, tell you the truth, I haven't watched any media on TV since before Christmas. So I don't know exactly what line they're using, but whatever it is, they're all repeating it. If I was to go look, I could pick up on it in about 10 seconds. You probably could tell me, you're probably typing it in right now. I don't know because I'm not watching it. I decided I don't need the propaganda from the other side. I'll get my own propaganda. Thank you very much. Donald Trump and Flynn and the rest of them know that when things happen and there is a regime change, and I don't mean as we have always done it in America, I mean as China did it, as Russia did it, as Cuba did it, as Venezuela did it, as Spain did it, as Germany did it, that the opposition ceases to exist, literally. What did they do with the czars of Russia? Did they give them a nice retirement home in the southern Balkans? Or did they kill everyone, including the children? But Mike, it's Donald Trump that's not given a peaceful transition. Why you say that? The transition hasn't happened yet. Doesn't happen for another 11 or 12 days. Who's the one censoring everybody? Who's the one kicking everybody off Twitter and Facebook and whatnot? Who's the one that's in Congress right now trying to impeach a president that has 11 days left? Trying to invoke the 25th Amendment? Going to the Joint Chiefs of Staff and saying, you can't listen to him anymore. Who's the ones that ignored all the fraud and certified this fraudulent election anyways? Didn't even look into it. There's no fraud. There's no fraud. There's no fraud. I see nothing. Oh, I see nothing. Didn't even want to look. Can't look. You know, in counties like in Arizona, where they're Maricopa County still in contempt of Congress for not turning over the access to their machines to see what the real count was. Well, we subpoenaed you to give it to us. So what? The court says you have to give it to us. So what? What you going to do about it? Well, rules only apply to those who choose to follow them. And if you succeed in taking over, then you get to make the rules. Rules like you have to talk a certain way. You have to think a certain way. Rules like conservatism is hate speech. Rules like you can go to church. Church just can't talk about the things we don't want you to talk about. You could be a Republican. You just have to agree with us. It's okay to have a different point of view as long as it's the same view we have. I ask you, who's saying that stuff? Who's trying to put the force of law behind that stuff? Is it Donald Trump? Is it the evil orange man? Is he the one saying that? But he called out his minions to attack in D.C. Go watch the video again, because he never said that. He did clap 17 times in Georgia. I wonder what that was about. Weird. We are in the middle of a cold civil war, a cold revolution. We may have already lost. I don't know. It may get hot, like really quick. The continuation of the communication blackout, the continuation of the social media blackout, it didn't end last night. It will continue. And let me tell you, you trolls that are on here right now, I'm not even looking. I can't look at the feed. I look at it afterwards. I can't look at it because I get distracted. But the trolls that are on there right now, I see you. I know you're there. I know. Stop. Look, stop. If you're a troll, if you're trolling, you know who you are. Stop right now. I ask you a question. What happened to Che Guevara? Cesar Chavez? What happened to all the generals that helped in the revolution with Lenin and Stalin? What happened to all the people who helped Mao Zedong get into power? Pol Pot? When these kind of things happen and they get rid of the people like me, guess who's next? That's right, buddy. It's you. They're coming after you too. Why? Because you're revolutionaries. You're creating a new world. You know how to overthrow the current system of things and create a new one in your own image. that becomes a monster and kills you because you know how to create a new one. They don't need people having revolutions once they've secured the revolution. Well, you have that flag. You're a traitor to America. I have the flag to make a point. This isn't America anymore. That ceased to exist on the 6th. The Constitution is null and void. The rules only apply to those who choose to follow them. If we don't follow the Constitution, what does it matter? First few bills that are going to be introduced in the new Congress is a gun ban. 100%. All guns across this country will be banned by these people. They have to do it. They can't not ban the guns. I don't know how they plan on collecting them. Maybe one bullet at a time. I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. They will still attempt it. They'll pass it. It'll pass through the House. It'll pass through the Senate. The president, they'll have to give him some Vicodin or something and they'll hold his hand, but he'll sign it. He'll make a 2.5-minute speech because that's all he can remember. But he'll sign it. And it'll become law. And you'll have to abide by it. But no, the Constitution, the Second Amendment says I get to keep my guns. What Constitution? Well, we're going to sue the NRA. We're going to sue. Please send us money so we can sue. And they sue. And it goes to the Supreme Court. And John Roberts looks at it and says, it's not a law. It's a rule. Therefore, it's constitutional. Boom. Guess what? Now, what do? Supreme Court has ruled. It has to be the fact. You know, the Supreme Court ruled that slavery was good, too. Funny how that works. But, Mike, we have freedoms, do we? Sure, we're free, but do we have liberty? Give me my rights to health care or give me death. That's what they said back then, isn't it? It will be. It will be when they've erased all of history, when they've taken down all the statues, when they've changed all the names. It will be. The history will be whatever they want the history to be. The heresies of heresies was common sense, George Orwell. You can't think for yourself. Let them think for you. You can't make a decision. The decision is already made. And the only decision that's available is the one they say. How do we know that 2 and 2 make 4? Or the force of gravity works? Or that the past is unchangeable? If both the past and the external world exist in the mind, and the mind itself is controllable, then what? What are you going to do? I mean, you're sitting here telling me right now, Mike, that's not possible. You know, for the last year, it was January 20th or 21st that I did my very first video in this format. When I put go back and look, go scroll through my Facebook page, you'll find it. I had my brown shirt on, just like this one. Notice the brown shirt. I had my gloves on. Yeah, and I had my mask on, I had my goggles on, I had my roll of toilet paper, because you remember this time last year was the great toilet paper run. Well, nobody had a place to take crap. I had my gun, I had my knife. That's right. Now, I was prepared. I was prepared because they was taking all the toilet paper. I was demonstrating absurdity by being absurd. I should have took the screenshot. I have a screenshot of it somewhere. I posted it. It's been a year since we started masking up and locking down, listening to these people who have contradicted themselves in every other sentence because the great China flu had come to kill us all. It's been a year that we have completely changed how we think about what liberty is. As Karen stands on the street corner pulling down her mask to yell at you because you don't have a mask on. Or you go into the grocery store and all the grocery store workers are masked up, nosed out. But they have to comply even though your nose is out, because that's going to work. Because everybody put on their masks and then fiddled and touched and contaminated them. Because when I was on the decon team in the Army, that's what they said to do, is make sure that you touch everything and make sure you spread all the contaminants around, because that's safer. We were told we have to shut down our businesses, but that's okay. They'll stimulate us. And we did get stimulated by the government, didn't we? They're going to take care of us. They're going to love us and squeeze us and hold us and pet us and call us George. Yeah. Government's there for you. Government going to take care of you. Big brother, they're going to hold your hand and help you through this. It's going to be okay. The orange man's almost gone. It's going to be utopia. It's going to be utopia, just like when Barack Obama was president, and it was utopia and happy days. We're here again, and we can put a little bit of deep hitter in his voice and some reverb while he's talking, and we can stand in these poses with the emblem behind us. It'll be great. It'll be just like when Barack Obama was president. It'll be almost like Barack Obama has indwelled himself inside Joe Biden and is speaking right out of him. Almost like that. Almost. It'll be great. Well, don't you remember when Barack Obama was president? There was so much peace and love. The police officers didn't have guns. They had roses, and there was no protest. Remember, there was no protest anywhere. Right? They weren't burning anything down and protesting. The cops weren't acting stupidly. Do you remember that? When Barack Obama was president? They weren't spying on news reporters live on social media where you could see that they were controlling the news reporter's computer. They weren't doing stuff like that. No, the IRS wasn't cracking down on Barack Obama's political enemies. Oh, no. Hillary Clinton, she didn't have a server in the basement. She didn't wipe it off with a cloth. You mean with a cloth? Yeah. Well, that never happened. We didn't have any wars around the planet, We weren't sending our boys to die. Under Bush, we had that countdown clock on CNN. 16,412 servicemen to date have died in the wars. Trump or Bush is an evil man. He's created all these wars. Obama doesn't create wars. No, we never got into wars with Libya. No, we never got into wars with Syria. That didn't happen. Benghazi's old news. What is Benghazi? What, you sneeze? What is that? Just understand. We're in an information war. We're in a cold revolution that may or may not get hot. Our side has appeared to have lost. Hence the new flag. It'll be great. Did you know there's Chinese on the northern border? Maybe some in Mexico too. I wonder why that is. I'm sure they're just peaceful. I'm sure they're UN peacekeepers. Yeah. And we're going to need some UN peacekeepers because, well, we're going to have to quell all them stinking rioting Trump supporters. We got to get them under control. So we got to call the UN to help us get them blue hats in here. Because everywhere in the world that the blue hats have gone has been so much better. It's been great. Especially when the blue hats are Chinese. This conversation has been brought to you by 1984. It's a great book. You should probably read it while you still can. And while you're at it, this conversation has also been brought to you by Atlas Shrugged. Who is John Galt? You should probably read that book too. Did you know that Audibles has books on tape? Just saying. Put your little earphones in, and while you're doing your little exercises, you can listen to some good propaganda while you still can, because I imagine, this isn't 1984, this is 2021, It took a little longer than they thought. Facebook is actively attacking me. They're actively minimizing my posts. They're coming after me, telling me that some of my posts are, how should we say? Oh, yeah, they told me this one was sexual content. I don't know what kind of weird dudes they are over at that's the last thing in my mind when I see that. But anyways, I digress. They have the right to their opinion. I suggest that you go find me. That's MeWe. That's Parler. That's Rumble. Go find me. Follow me there while they still exist. I'm about to jump off here. You guys have a great day. Enjoy the weekend. And to my Q friends out there, enjoy your popcorn.